Zoom recording. All right, you guys get all that little thing telling me you're okay with being recorded and all that happy stuff.
Yep.
Okay, so calling together the August 19th meeting of the Green Team, Green Community Committee here at 6:33. Those who this meeting's being recorded for folks who want to listen later on Zoom or YouTube, and I appreciate your time and appreciate you joining. So first thing I'm going to do on the agenda is let's talk about the meeting minutes. You guys have seen Kim's amazing literary skills. Any issues or comments?
Nope, I move we approve them as presented unless somebody else has something.
I'll second, if I can do that to my own meeting minutes.
Okay. All in favor? Go roll call vote. Kim, Dave,
Aye.
okay. Kim
Aye.
and Chris?
Aye.
And an aye for me, so there we go. All right. All right, so I'm gonna go with public comment, and Tyler, this is when you get a chance to be on. So we have a special guest today. This is a big occasion for us that we get a special guest. And Tyler's asked to present to the committee on something that he's passionate about. So Tyler, I'll let the stage be yours.
All right. Do you mind if I share my screen at all, or?
No, go ahead, as long as you're allowed to, so go ahead.
Hosts disabled it, so.
All right, so let me figure this out. Share screen. Nope. Advanced sharing options. Hold on. Come on. Who can share? All participants. Who can stay when somebody else is? All right. All right, there you go. Try it now.
All right, perfect.
So I'm sorry, first of all, give us who you are, where you're from, where
Yeah.
you live, and we'll go from there.
Yep. So I'm Tyler Proto, and I'm a resident of Lunenburg. And basically what I'm here to talk about to you guys today is like styrofoam recycling and the system that I think would be working in our community and help make our town more green.
Tyler, real quick before you continue on, could you just give me your address, please?
Yep. 84 Robs Hill Road.
Perfect. We just have to include it in the minutes. So thank you.
Okay.
We're trying to be official after being yelled at for 3 years, so bear with us.
Strict rules down here, I guess.
Yeah, real strict.
All right, so let's see here. So yeah, so what I'm gonna cover today is the current recycling issues that our town has with styrofoam. Then obviously my proposed solution, the funding and grants and how that can work to sort of, I guess, help us along in the journey. Community involvement, the expected impact, and then a little bit about like silverware and stuff like that, but I'll get to that later. So yeah. So some of the current recycling issues that we have is, so I contacted Harvey and they said that they do separate, but the person that I spoke to said that they don't know where the expanded polystyrene actually goes after that. So this can mean that it's obviously missed, or there's some sort of functionality that cannot be there to sort of have the 100% effectiveness of the recycling system that Harvey has. So obviously it's non-biodegradable, it sticks around and the shape doesn't change at all through the environment. And I was in Nantucket last week, actually, and I noticed styrofoam washing up on shore, and obviously Nantucket's like a pretty like sustainable place and off the shore, and it's just sort of amazing seeing it all come onto the island, and it's sort of surprising actually when it happens.
Okay.
So yeah, so what I found is that 35% of all landfills is styrofoam, and obviously when you come back from, let's say, Chili's or the 99, we've all been to these restaurants where they give out like styrofoam takeout bins and boxes. And obviously that comes from outside of Lunenburg. And that brings the pollution in, and then we put it back out. Yeah, so we don't really know where it goes from there. So the recycling process would be to, so I've been looking at a couple of recycling places that do this sort of process. So we have collection points in the town, and then from those collection points, we transport them to these recycling centers. And this transport could be either covered by the recycling center or covered by like a state grant, which I've also researched, and we actually can qualify for them up to $100,000. But I'll have to do more research into that if we plan to move forward with something like this. But basically what happens is they take the styrofoam and they basically crunch it up into little cubes and they melt it down. Or not really melt, yeah, they melt it down. And they get these little like pieces of grains, like probably about the size of like rice. And then they can be used to make picture frames and like things around the house that you wouldn't even really think were styrofoam at the time, like cups, bins, rulers, things like that. And obviously we would need a lot of community involvement for this because having these collection points, you need people to actually want to go to these points. And I think that if we have like posters or we have sessions where information's given out, or basically educational systems where people actually want to help and like want to go into these places and get their styrofoam or put their styrofoam into the collection bins, and then they can sort of help out in the way that we need help, I guess. Like I said, fundings and grants, we can get them from local government, businesses, state funds, government funds. There's lots of options that I've seen and we can research, but I can dig more into that and email some people to see if we can qualify for those. Like I said, I think one of them that we can qualify for is up to $100,000, and I think that's a pretty good chunk of money, depending on what we can get for it. Obviously, the expected impact would be for us to have a less percentage of styrofoam in landfills and less carbon emissions and less all these things that are harmful to our environment. Yeah, and then so that's sort of it for styrofoam. I have a whole document of notes that I've taken and research of like facts and stuff like that. And if you guys want that, I have a link page that I can share with you guys. And then
So, yeah, so I will ask if you can just share the presentation,
yeah,
with,
of course.
after you're done. This way we can put it towards the website or make it available for others.
Yeah, of course. And then just sort of the last thing is, so I was touring Dartmouth a couple of weeks ago, or not a couple of weeks ago, maybe like a month and a half ago. I don't know, time flies. But I was touring Dartmouth and they had this restaurant or cafe near the campus, and I got like cups and utensils and straws, like things you wouldn't really think to be like compostable, but these things are actually pretty simple and cost effective to get in change of like the plastic silverware, which usually sometimes can't be recycled in, or maybe people throw them out by accident or carelessly. But if like there's a possibility to switch to these things, then maybe, I don't know, I feel like it would be better off.
Okay.
But I also have something too.
Okay. So can I ask a couple of questions?
Yeah, of course.
All right. So, you talked about like having a location.
Yeah.
Is this like a large bin, or something, because because the reason why I'm asking is like, say if I bought, well, I bought a new microwave, right? And I have that styrofoam that comes in it, which now I can, I can basically fill up an entire yellow bag
Yep.
with just styrofoam for that one thing. So I'm trying to look at a way that I'm telling people is the offset, right? If there is some cost to this, what the offset is of that they had to throw it in a bag. Are these large bins, or how would they be doing it?
So I guess it could be large bins, but I was sort of thinking on like a smaller scale even. So like there could be like a place on the school campus where you could have like a little drop-off station, or the fire department or police stations, or even Hannaford. I know that Hannaford has these like plastic bag, um, I guess collection points where you stuff the plastic bags like next to like a recycling bin or something. Maybe
Yes.
maybe they would be on board for something like that too.
Okay, so you're thinking more of like like a takeout containers, more on that side. Would
Yeah,
they also?
anything really, anything.
Okay, I'm just looking at it, right? Because to me personally, as a homeowner, that's my biggest hassle. Is I
Yeah,
just
Yeah.
bought something, and what do you do with the stuff,
yeah,
right? And what is I forget how much a bag is these days, but even if I'm going to say it's $3 to throw out the styrofoam of something I just bought,
yeah.
um, you know, is it cheaper to burn it in the backyard? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't say that out loud. But
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Would we be using the town trash bags to dispose of this, or would it be removed in another way?
So what I was sort of thinking is having these drop-off stations, having like just regular trash bags, or just bringing in sort of the material itself, and then bringing I guess the collection bins or whatever we use to collect the items to the recycling centers.
So, so it's something that we would have to bring it to them, or will they come and pick them up?
It can be either. I can contact the recycling centers to see which option would work better for them. But then again, we can get, if it does get to the point where we have to bring it to them, um, I think that a grant would be a good option for paying for like transportation and stuff like that.
Well, it would obviously have to be a grant to pay for
Yeah.
transport. I don't think we're going to get any thing through a town budget to
Yeah, exactly.
add something. And to try to have people say, okay, I'm going to bring it somewhere to now pay to throw it,
Yeah.
I don't think will work either. Type of
Yep.
thing. All right. All right. To the group, I'll open up. Any questions for folks?
I want to agree that probably as a homeowner, the biggest kind of pain with the styrofoam are like those big purchases. Like when I bought my house, I was constantly cutting up cardboard, throwing away styrofoam. And people are moving all the time, getting replacement things. So a larger scale for something like that, I think would be really useful, because that's what people are going to probably think of more of on a, like if they're looking to recycle stuff, because they're gonna be like, I have this big mound of recycling, and not necessarily like the takeout container here and there. Like me personally, like when I go to a restaurant, I have a collapsible to-go container, because I'm one of those crazy people that I won't use a to-go container. I would rather bring my Tupperware with me. But most people aren't gonna like do that, and they're not going to like think about, oh, this small one little thing here, I'm just gonna throw in the trash because it's convenient for them. But if it's something that is big, like Dave was saying, where they could just bring it all in their car, like instead of going to, people bring their big cardboard boxes over to Devon's. Someone would definitely make the trip over to the public safety building to bring over their, car amount size of styrofoam. I think something like that, like a bin or like a specific, not like maybe like a dumpster or something that people could throw their recycling in, would be like probably more of an appropriate scale that I would be thinking. And if people do the smaller things, I think that would be great too. It's probably just not a habit that a lot of people would get into at first, but I would fully support if this was possible. I think it's a great idea. I would be wondering, because like when you bring the bags back to the recycling, or like to the grocery store, like your plastic bags, they say it's like, oh, it's a recycling area. I've heard that sometimes they just throw them away. So I would be like really curious how, if we brought them somewhere, if they were actually being recycled, because people are going through all the effort. You know, if we were to get funding for this, we would want to make sure on the back end that it's actually worthwhile and it's not just getting thrown away or burned or something, but actually recycled as intended. So that would be probably my concern. I would just want to make all the effort truly to be worth it, so that people would do it and it would be like actually environmentally, you know, an improvement. Because if we were to put the styrofoam into plastic bags, then we have another plastic bag to throw away. It's kind of creating a new type of waste. You know, I would love to see that the big use, recycling things kind of make its way. And then for like the to-go containers and like the utensils and stuff, I think if we were to find a way to reduce people's usage of to-go containers, or at least like make them compostable for at home, like instead of the styrofoam to-go containers, if those were compostable, because a lot of people do compost. But I would be worried that any of the compostable stuff isn't home compostable. You have to bring it to a different facility for it to actually be able to be composted. So that would be another like kind of checkbox of like, yeah, we have these compostable utensils or to-go containers, but like you again have to bring them somewhere else. So people are just going to throw them away. You know, so those are just my thoughts.
I appreciate that.
And Tyler, where is the closest processing area that you're aware of, the recovery facility?
So I know that there's one in Worcester. I haven't been able to get in contact with them. I've emailed them a couple times. So they might be closed down now, but I know of other compost or other recycling centers. I think there's one in like, it starts with the L, but it's not Lunenburg, it's like Lynx.
The Littleton,
No, not
Lancaster.
Littleton, Lexington.
It's like one weird name. I don't really know.
Ludlow.
Leicester.
Yeah,
Might
Leicester.
be, yeah,
Oh, Leicester, yeah.
Lester, yep.
Sorry,
Lester.
I'm saying it
Yeah,
like
I
it's
think
true.
there's one there
I'm
too.
saying it like I've only
Yeah,
lived
the
in New
only-
England for 30 years, you know?
The only reason I
Hey,
ask
good
is
idea.
that, you know, if you get this program off the ground, and there is funding out there for just about all types of recycling, the town actually used to get credits for some of the things that we did, like education to the public, so on and so forth. And I'll try to find out what agency that was through. But the reason I was asking about the location is ultimately, if you could get this thing going to the point where a dumpster is filled up every 2 weeks or something like that, possibly you could contract with the recovery center to come swap out the dumpster every 2 weeks, and they transport it, assuming there'll be an expense to that. But again, like you said, if the grant money's out there, you can take advantage of that for the transportation. Little early to jump that far into it, but you know, this is what you're proposing sounds like an interesting project, and you never know until you try whether it's going to be successful.
Yeah.
The other thing that's going to be important is that it's a container that secures the material once it's put in there, because a lot of this stuff is so light, you get a strong wind. If it blows through an open dumpster, it'll take half the material and blow it all over the area. Those are my thoughts at this point.
Yeah. In fact, it was interesting because I remember when the town did have the cardboard dumpster, that it was a sealed dumpster, which was a pain in the neck because you had to sit there breaking up your cardboard box to fit into the stupid little slot. However, once it was in there, it wasn't going anywhere, type of thing. As well as it, you know, the fact that you broke it up made it so that it doesn't take up as much room in the dumpster, type of thing.
Your comment earlier.
Yeah,
I'm
go ahead,
sorry.
Dave. No, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Tyler, your comment earlier about this stuff doesn't go away. I was reading an article about deep sea exploration last evening, I think it was, and I forget the name of the trench, but it's the deepest trench in the ocean. Very well known, but I just can't think of the name of it right now.
Mariana Trench.
Yep, there we go. That's it. And the guy that went down in that trench holds one of the records to the deepest dive in the ocean, and it was into that trench, and he discovered 2 or 3 new species of animals, but he also stated in the article that it was laden with pieces of plastic also. So you're right, they never go away. They just go down. When they get dumped in the ocean, they go everywhere.
Nice. So we like the idea. I mean, I think as a group, we like the idea and would love to be able to, help you with the proposal for the town. I think the biggest things that we feel is, well, at least personally, I feel like I'd like to be able to do the bigger, be able to do the larger styrofoam, because I think that's the quickest impact from people. And if I'm bringing large styrofoam, I would think about the rest of my styrofoam type of thing, especially if, the other issue I have is, if I have to accumulate it. So in other words, how many times do I have to eat out and bring something until I get a bin full of styrofoam that I'm going to want to bring there? But if I'm having, I think the biggest and quickest impact is going to be the big stuff. So I recommend if you, I do recommend that if we can find out more about, the size of the container that would hold it, and whether it, what the difference is between them picking it up or us delivering it, I'd be very, very interested.
Okay.
I think
I'm happy-
the other thing
yeah.
to look for, if you can, is a program like this that's already been instituted somewhere, if you can find one, and
Yeah.
see, what their successes were and what tweaks they had to go through to get it to work, so on and so forth.
Right. I mean, to me, it's unfortunate that we don't have a town dump anymore, because it would have just been one more dumpster at the time of dump. Well, not, I mean, obviously our town dump was not the same as the new town dumps that you see in, say, a Bolton, a Harvard, or something like that, where everybody comes and just separates it into different dumpsters. But I would look at it as this would be perfect. It would just be one more dumpster that we fill, type of thing. But unfortunately, I don't think we're going back to town dump.
I'll tell you, all the towns up in north central New Hampshire, they all use transfer stations.
That's what I
And
mean.
that's
Yeah.
what you do.
yeah.
You go
Yes.
into the transfer station like Townsend is, and you separate into the individual dumpsters, and then the final one is trash that's trash.
Right, right. So, and I would love that to be in Lunenburg, because like I say, too many folks, you get an item and you're like, what do I do with it now? Type of thing.
Right.
So, and I miss the camaraderie of the town coming there and being able to trade with my fellow townspeople. If I had a set of speakers and I need a receiver, or something like that, or coming home with that new set of dishes, we miss that. Type of thing. All right, excellent, excellent. Jennifer, thanks for joining us, if you don't mind. All right. Did you miss the beginning of it? Or you have an idea?
That's okay. I have an idea.
Okay, okay.
Thanks.
Do you have any questions or anything that you'd like to ask?
No, thank you.
Okay, I figured I had to ask. Okay.
Both Duffy's crashing the meeting.
Yeah.
Tyward, now you're the one that has the talent bank form in also.
What?
Do you have a talent bank foreman that you're thinking about joining? One of the
To
wonderful.
get on this committee?
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Well, we welcome, there are openings as alternate right now, which means, when somebody's not here, like today, we don't have somebody here, you basically can be a voting member if it's, if it's something where we have to have the deciding vote or anything like that. But you're welcome to join us. We try to meet once a month. They give us an hour and a half. After an hour and a half, anybody's willing to say meeting adjourned, and we call it an evening. So we ask for an hour and a half of your time, once a month type of thing, or other times as well. So appreciate this. I don't know what, is there a certain direction you would like from us at this point, or have we kind of given you some good ideas of what we're thinking?
I think I got some good ideas. I mean, I was thinking more small scale and big scale, because I wasn't really sure like which one would work better. But I feel like, yeah, larger scale, now that you guys said, like, obviously, I think you guys lived more years than me. I'm almost only 17, so.
Okay, well,
Um,
think about, think
I
about
was
the
going to
last
say,
time
the
you-
only
yeah.
thing I would suggest is reach out to Hannaford, have a conversation, and see what you get for a reaction from them. The only reason I say that is if you could start a small scale recycling project with them as your backer, that could happen a lot faster than municipal government can do anything. So just be aware, municipal government almost runs in reverse before it goes forward.
Correct.
But
Yeah.
I don't want to dissuade you from doing it through the town, but if you get a positive reaction from Hannaford, I'm not sure about Walmart, but I think Hannaford would be the one to approach. See what you
Yeah.
get for a response.
Okay.
And by the way, even if it is, it might be Walmart. When you're thinking about somebody bought a TV from Walmart, is there a place they can bring the styrofoam back? And if that's the case, it might be a reason for them to go back into Walmart and shop for something else, type of thing.
Yeah.
Now,
The
if
only
it-
thing I will say is that dumpsters in those parking lots up there have been an issue. So
Yes.
just keep that in mind. It would have to be where at a spot where it can be monitored, because you'll end up with baby furniture and you name it. There'll be everything on the ground, couches. From that perspective, the DPW garage is probably a better location or something like that, where there's surveillance at all times. So I don't think there's been any problems over there with cardboard dumpsters. So
No, not, yeah,
just-
not.
just passing that out as information.
Right, because also, Tyler, as Dave mentioned, the fact is that, if we feel this is a go, I now still got to convince the DPW to put a dumpster there or something like
Right.
that, right? And they're going to push back. Everybody's, it's, as he says, it's, everybody wants to be not in my backyard, is the famous saying in every town, is
Right.
as long as it's not in my backyard. Solar farms, so long as it's not in my backyard, right?
Yep.
And everything else. So, excellent, excellent. Well, I appreciate you bringing this forward to us, and it's definitely, and the research you've done, it's definitely a good idea. I think it's something we need. It's just a matter of being able to present the program to the town, to the selectmen, and then into town meeting. And, if you can, with your help, if we can put something together, more than happy to stand in front of our wonderful selectmen and the rest of the town and get this moving, helping you get this moving with you.
Yeah, that'd be great. Again, I'm willing to do, I guess, whatever it takes. I mean, I guess I'd appreciate some help from you guys, and that would be much appreciated.
Well, as it gets further along, we'll give you more than just our sage old advice. We'll give you, we'll be able to help with other things and
Yeah.
and getting you the right meetings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Well,
Tyler,
thank you.
have you got an answer back from the administrative assistant yet from the town?
I have not, no.
Okay, you should be. She distributed your talent bank form, so you should be hearing from her for an appointment with the select board sometime in the next few weeks, I would assume. I'll try to touch base with her tomorrow and see what they're thinking as to a date.
Out of
Excellent.
curiosity, do you need to be a certain age to be appointed to a committee?
I do not believe so. How old did you say you were, Tyler?
17.
When's your 18th?
November 29th.
Perfect. So we can do you
Yeah,
probably do you as an alternate. Maybe you might not be able to vote till your voting age. You might not be able to vote, that type of thing. But
I'm
by
not
the ti-
sure about that, Dave, but we'll see.
Yeah, and by the way, by the time this town moves right now, the way the Board of Selectmen is working, you could be 21 by the time they figure things out.
Put it this way: we'll treat you as a member until they say you can be a member. So don't
Ex-
worry about it.
Exactly. This group is real. We like to think of ourselves, we're just a ragtag group. Anybody's willing to join, anybody's willing to put their 2 cents in. We'll accept everything, type of thing. Excellent. Well, I thank you. I thank you again. And look, if you want to stay on and you can listen to the rest of our wonderful speeches here tonight.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. All right,
Thanks, Tyler.
thanks. Okay. All right. Jennifer, I just got to ask if you got anything before I move on to the wonderful rest of this meeting agenda. I'll see if you had anything in particular you wanted to talk to us about.
Nope, nothing in particular. I usually have AdCom at the same time, so we had ended early, so I figured I'd join in for a few minutes and do some cross committee at work, networking, I guess. That's all.
Okay, so what committee, I'm sorry, what committee are you?
AdCom, I'm the chair of AdCom for,
Okay, okay, all right, cool. All right, well, I appreciate that. Excellent, well, welcome. All right, so let me go, I'll jump onto the, can I steal the screen back there, Tyler?
Oh, yeah,
All right,
sorry.
it's all right,
I was even still on there.
that's all right. Okay, so I am going to, where is my, uh-oh, I just lost, I don't have enough screens here. Zoom, okay. So I'm gonna jump to the part of our wonderful thing where we're talking about the grants. I mean, the next competitive grant, guys, okay? And I will tell you now that the feedback from the town has been mediocre at best. And I'm gonna be really nice when I'm calling it mediocre, okay? It's, my opinion, it's abysmal right now. So there was one email going around, and this was actually done by Unitil, that kind of showed a bunch of projects for possibilities and how much grant money they would be looking for, and out of the money that's available and the utility incentives. You can see here, I think you can, hopefully everybody's seeing my screen, but
Dave,
let me
can you
get,
boil that up a little bit?
can I what?
Can you zoom in on that a little bit without
Yeah,
going
hold on.
outside the screen?
Let me get rid of some of these. Let me get rid of some of these things here. Okay, I'm gonna hide a bunch of. Let me hide a bunch of screens here. Hide. Hide. Come on. Hide. Oh, it's not letting me hide. Come on. All right, I'm gonna skip that then. Okay, so let me make this a little bit bigger.
That's great for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I can zoom in on it and see it.
All right, so here's the deal. This is the easiest part. I'm gonna just go in this thing. This was done by, as I mentioned, this was done by a gentleman in Unitil, O'Keefe. It's not official or anything like that, but these are some projects that have been talked around town, and what he's looking at as far as utility incentives and grant funding. The first three have to do with the sewer commission, different pump stations. I have to talk to Kim. I have to talk to Kelly and see how she feels about these. But last time around, when we looked at pump stations, we didn't get the greatest response for the ROI and the time to market. In fact, here, let me try to do this. Bear with me a second here. I might make this smaller, but let me try to. All right, let me make it a little bit smaller for everybody here, but I'm trying to. I'm trying to get to the wonderful where it gives you the ROI time. Oh, come on, this is ridiculous. Oh, I don't even have an ROI here. Oh, here it is. Okay, here we go. I'm getting closer, guys. I'm getting closer. All right, let me skip that one. All right, now we get to the bottom line here. Okay, can everybody see everything now? The big thing I'm pointing out is this column here, column AA. And as you can see, the pump stations, the green communities payback period is a little bit longer than I would expect them to approve. And that's in years, not
That goes
weeks,
out a little
not
ways.
months, right? Exactly. So I don't think they're going to be jumping at the fact that we're going to, they'll get their money back in 800 years. So I'd say the first three are out. So I'm going to go and I'm gonna get rid of these a little bit. So I'm down to the elementary school, a walk-in refrigeration control, the high school, a walk-in refrigeration control, and the same thing, the Turkey Hill, I assume that's a walk-in refrigeration control. Yeah, refrigeration controls. The payback time is pretty good here, right? Like, you know, at a maximum of like 2.25 years. So I feel these are good, but, you know, we're talking about a total of, what am I going to be nice and say that's 7, 8, 10, $11,000 in grant funding for these. And I'm really pushing folks to come up with more stuff, but so far I'm not getting anything from the townsfolks.
Dave, we should be getting 2 cruisers, correct?
The 2 cruises would be in there. That would be another 10 grand.
Right. Okay. I'm
But you
just
know,
trying to add up what we've got for pennies.
exactly. So I'm looking at this and I'm going, guys, this is disgusting right now. The fact that we're still sitting here at like 22 grand, well, even if I put in the training for Chris and the training for Chris Ruth and the training for Eric Heavey on how to work the systems and all that stuff, we're still going to be at maybe 30K total, 25 to 30K total. And that's it. I'm really pushing. Chris just got back from vacation, so he's going to send me something tomorrow. I'll push it to you guys, but I got to get something. I went in front of the school board, emphasized to them that, you know, we want to help them with the mini splits and that to get us the information, but I still haven't seen anything. And I got to go back to them and find out what they've done, you know, to talk to Eric about it. I'm trying, you know, my feeling is that he's looking at it as he's just trying to maintain buildings and tell the town what they need. But as far as how it's paid for, that I don't feel that that's what that's the concern. The concern is more of just outlining what needs to be done and maintaining what we have. So I just wanted to be upfront and honest with you guys, you know, upfront with you guys about where we're at so far when it comes to this $200,000 worth of grant funding that's available.
Yeah, it didn't seem like they wanted to use it for the heating as much.
Correct.
Yeah, and that's a huge mistake right there. Huge mistake. And the problem is that, step back just a little bit, Kim, Kelly, and I did a Zoom meeting with Eric a few weeks ago to try to pick it apart a little bit more from Eric's perspective. And you are correct. You know, he kind of understands what we're trying to do, but it's really doesn't see that as part of his responsibilities as the facilities director. You know, different from John Wanda, who was on the ground floor with Green Communities, so he knew the process, and it wasn't more work for him. It was just part of his day-to-day operations. And he drove most of the submissions for quite a few years. I think going forward, whatever we do this year, I think going forward for the long term, somebody's got to be identified on the town side, a paid employee, that is going to help coordinate what we've been trying to do, pulling projects from facilities and so on, and working with Kelly to help identify the projects that are eligible so that we're not, you know, pulling our hair out trying to get projects. Basically what came out of that meeting that we had from Kelly's perspective was that initially we were going to try to submit a proposal that included both phases and show Green Communities that the town had already made an investment because phase 1 is actually in progress now. And that would help towards them looking in a different light at phase two because we've already made an investment. By the end of the conversation, it was felt that we drop phase one from our consideration, try to pull phase two in, but even that is going to be a stretch because they've already demonstrated that they don't plan to use it for heat, which is really too bad because they are going to use it for heat. I guarantee they are. Number of years ago, and I haven't said this in a public meeting, but a number of years ago, and Kelly and I talked about this a couple of times, the Ritter building, there was a proposal put to Green Communities to put a mini split type unit in that building a number of years ago. And it was submitted again, the same as the school's talking. No, it's for AC only. So Green Communities kicked it out. Well, lo and behold, she did a site visit a number of years later, and what they had installed and they were using was AC and heating. And Green Communities could have paid for every dollar of that install. And here we are again with, a multi-hundreds of thousands of dollars that's being put into mini splits. And we're struggling to get it funded because, that they brought it forward as cooling only. So
Is there another committee we could put this in front of that would realize the value and be able to require that we fund projects like this?
I think we should have some more conversations with the capital planning committee. They are already adding that to their criteria for the department heads when the projects are brought forward. I think if we collaborate with the capital planning committee and give them some guidance as to, what types of projects that we could help fund. And that's going to be a question on their questionnaire or during their presentations is this eligible for Green Community?
Well, right. It should be kind of a, check with Green Community, the Green Committee first.
Right. Chris, the only other issue is always that they're in a big rush to get it in, get the project funded. So they bring it forward when it's at a critical point where it can't wait till the next grant round. And they say, oh, we can't wait for that. We're just going to spend the taxpayers' money. And that's what it boils down to, saying it bluntly. Dave, I'm sorry. Did I? Oh, no. That's my hand. I have a hand on the screen that pops up if I accidentally put my cursor over a speaker or over any one of you, and I thought it was your hand.
No, that's okay. No, I by the way, I agree, guys. This is a frustrating one from day one, and it doesn't take much. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that mini splits using them for heat and heating just the classrooms, not the building, not the hallways, makes a lot of freaking sense. But I mean, maybe I don't have my master's in thermodynamics, but the fact of the matter is it's just common sense, and I don't understand it at all.
Dave, I'm sorry. Dave, one other comment I wanted to make is that because of the time frame that it takes for these projects like this, we could have potentially put these projects phase one into one grant round and a year later phase two into the next grant round. And we could have committed, $200,000 or $300,000 towards this project. But now we've got nothing.
Understand. So I'm going to look to try to talk to the school committee again, to at least do something with the school committee. I agree with Dave that, need to probably have a meeting with capital planning. Maybe if at one of their meetings, we can, as a group, we can come to one of their meetings and just present to them and talk to them about this whole thing and go from there. I don't know if phase two for the mini splits is already funded by the town. I know
it's not.
One, right. And I got a feeling. It
definitely is not.
Right. So I want to make sure that it would not be funded by the town and that the school would have to, figure out how to do this a different way right now, because this is ridiculous. To tell me you're going to use it for 12 days a year when you need AC and you want, that's almost like saying this thing, payback period of 100 years, You know, it's like, that's what you're basically doing to me. It's stupid. I don't get it at all.
Dave, the other two important points, and again, this goes back to projects being brought before us or somebody who knows the process early on, is that one of the other problems I don't know if Kelly heard from Eric or not since that meeting, we don't know what brand of unit they chose. And if it's not on the state list, then Green Communities won't fund it anyway.
Oh, that's correct too. Yes.
You know, so we're still in the dark, really. And
Okay.
if that's all it takes, and you know, I can't imagine that on the state list there's not a quality unit. That's kind of a double negative, but you know, there's got to be a quality unit that you could pick off that list as an alternative to what maybe your vendor's looking at, and then it makes it eligible. But to choose a brand that's not on the list, again, they're shooting themselves in the foot and spending the taxpayers' money instead of the taxpayers' money through grants.
Yeah, and in addition to that, there was just a lot of, I wrote down, 5 things that they needed to do in order for it to work and be eligible. The energy assessment, the weatherization assessment, they didn't do that. They don't have the energy savings data. And also that they would also look into the utility incentives with Unitil or, whoever would provide that in that area of town. So, Kelly said there's a lot of things that they would need to provide in order for it to be eligible that Eric didn't seem to have the information on.
No, and Kim, to your point that he's not even looking at it if there is any, to him, there's no energy savings because it's AC. Right now, there is no AC. So there's actually an energy user versus energy savings. And,
right. Yeah. Their whole thing was just the AC, not wanting it to use it for the heat. I think that somebody made that decision.
Right.
Yeah.
And the other side of that is we have solar panels on these buildings. So it's free electricity. It's like, the return on investment could be so short, it's ridiculous. The town's struggling right now to use all the solar energy we have because of the streetlights and everything like that. So I don't get it. But all right. So
I'll take some.
yeah.
Right. Volunteer tribute.
Yes, I understand.
I might have $300 worth of credits I got to pass off to somebody in a few months. So I'll keep you posted.
Okay.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Yes. All right. So Chris is supposed to send me his list. He unfortunately, no, I think today was his first day back. So he's supposed to send me his list. I'll pass it on to you guys. It looks like the next meeting, will be the meeting in early September that we'll have to just try to hammer something and get this moving if we can. Okay. I mean, I feel terrible if this is all we're submitting.
Yeah, Dave, if we have, something substantive, like an improved list by then, Kelly would like to be linked into the meeting when we're ready to start reviewing these projects, like the chart you have up there. Wait till Dave gets back. By the way, Kim, thank you for taking all those notes. I'm terrible about taking notes.
Well, if I don't take the notes, then I won't remember. So
I remember, but it's tomorrow. I'll remember it all. Not tonight.
Sorry, guys. I lost you there for a minute there. My headphones dropped out of me on me. Okay.
Dave, I don't
All
know
right.
if you heard my comment or not, but Kelly would like to be looped in on one of our meetings here in the near future, especially maybe the early September one, if we have, an expanded spreadsheet
Yep.
to what we have here, and then we can have that conversation. Kelly can say yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, and assuming she can have it in advance, she will have been able to collect her thoughts already.
Okay, Dave, agree 100%. In fact, I look at it as if we don't have a longer list by September, we're shot anyhow. You know, no
Yeah,
matter
that, you know, I wanted to speak to that, but it wasn't appropriate earlier. But I think, I don't know, we'll have to talk about this as a committee. I don't want to keep putting off not applying, because we don't have $100,000. $10 is better than $0. I just want to make sure that we're not shooting ourselves in the foot, like we held off hoping that the mini split project could be brought around for this round to, you know, get the numbers up and to help offset the return on investment on some of these that are marginal. So that's what we were hedging there. But if we just don't get that, then we need to have a serious conversation about going forward with 40 or 50,000 for this round and wait till next year for a new round.
in fact, I'll entertain the committee's opinion on that, and then I'll give mine. Any thoughts, Kim, Chris?
Yeah, if
I didn't,
we, oh, go ahead, Chris.
no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, if we, we can apply for one grant per year, we're gonna have to wait until next year anyways. We might as well use it. It's better than nothing.
Okay,
My side of that is I probably agree with what David said. He broke up in the middle. He broke up halfway through and I didn't hear the whole middle of it.
so basically, the idea is, even if, no matter what we have for this round, we need to apply.
Oh, I would agree with that. Yes, absolutely.
And, at this point, I agree with you. I agree, Dave, I agree. I don't feel like kicking the can down to spring will have any other result, would have any different result right now. I felt like we've given everybody fair warning. We've told them, we've tried to steer, bring the horse to water, but, what can I do, type of thing. And I guess really would look at it as, let's go for what we can get, and then put a full out blitz to other committees in town, like capital planning, like select, like school committee, and basically say, you need to change your ways, and make the townspeople more aware of what they're missing out on, type of thing. I mean, I'll gladly stand up in town meeting and rant and rave until they, next time the mini splits come up for me to pay fund for them again.
Hey, Kim, those notes that you have of the hoops that the school would need to jump through to bring that project forward, that sounds like a good start for an informational sheet that could be passed out to department heads or whatever. And as I say, that I think that's just the beginning of it. But if we start throwing something together that informs them the hoops they're going to need to jump through, then at least they know in advance, what's needed, and not us trying to pull it out of them at the last minute. And if we put a draft of that document together and then review it with Kelly, I'm sure she'll have more thoughts on other things that could be added to the list or worded differently, etc.
Yeah, kind of similar to how she was saying the application really outlines all of these, but I think people might be, a little intimidated by the application. It's a little convoluted because it's not straightforward, probably checklist. It's just probably pages and pages of requirements. So,
Right.
I agree with you. I think it would be better to have kind of an offline, tool that we can use to bring to the committees. That would be a little bit easier for them to understand.
Right,
So I
exactly.
can definitely do that. I have those, 5, commitment, like 5 checkbox items from that meeting that can start to put together.
Excellent.
And going forward, it might be, again, in the early stages, once you've identified a project that you're fairly certain is eligible, one of the first steps might be to have the conversation with Kelly, whatever the department head is, and at least one of the members of this committee, and put a list together like those 5 items you got there, but specific to the project that's being brought forward. Then everybody knows what needs to get done before the application goes in.
Right.
Yeah.
And my feeling is most of this stuff that they're asking for, the contractor who's doing the work should be able to put together.
Correct.
You know,
If
in
they
other words,
know.
right?
to.
They already know this stuff. It's easier to say no than to have to actually do it, type of thing, you
Right.
know? I mean, how many homeowners say to the contractor, why you give me this furnace versus another furnace?
Right.
You know, that we just say, okay, you know what you're talking about. And they don't, you know, but it's because they get a better deal and they get a winter
Yeah,
trip to
the
Hawaii. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that Kelly mentioned in regard to that is that depending on the project, if you run up against the contractor that doesn't want to do this or doesn't think he can do it properly, it's not that expensive to pay to have that done separately. It depends. Again, you'll have to do an analysis on what your savings going to be. Are you willing to spend $1,000 or $2,000 to have the energy audit and whatever else needs to be done by a separate contractor, and pay him a few dollars to get that work done so that you can move forward and get 150,000.
Okay, so let me, as I agree, Dave, and so let's look at this. Kim, if you could put together, you know, like just the bullets, we'll pass it by we can pass it through Kelly, get her approval that says, okay, this is good, and then start publishing this within town. And, you know, it could even be on our wonderful Facebook page of what they need to do, type of thing. So
Yep.
I think we're okay. I will also, as soon as I get something from Chris, pass it to you guys. And then I will look to schedule, see if make sure Kelly's available for our meeting in September. Okay, because I really feel like we can't wait till October to have projects. In September, we got to be looking at the nitty gritty details through September to get them off, you know, over the goal line.
Yeah, those last 3 weeks of September, they're going to have to be dotting the I's and crossing the T's on the application, not pulling projects in and try to fill out the paperwork on October 10th.
Right, right. And to Dave, to your point, that even if they're telling us the project, we can help them with this energy savings if they can give us enough details, type of thing.
Right.
It's not hard.
Yeah. The other thing we should remember, and this came up in that meeting too, is that if they bring a project forward and it turns out it's not going to work out for Green Communities, we need to remind them that they need to talk to Unitil to vet the incentives that are available through Unitil. Because even though they're not eligible for Green Communities, there are incentives for electrical savings and so on. There's a number of them that Unitil will do the analysis and they get free money. We did that with the streetlights. We got a pretty good chunk of money on top of the Green Communities money.
Dave, to your point, look at here. You know, the refrigeration stuff, 3/4.
Oh, there it is. Right.
Two-thirds of the money is from you know, incentives. 1/3 is from green. You know, I mean, that's 70% of it is being paid by incentives.
Yeah, and to my knowledge, the mini split project that's in progress now was never vetted for incentives. I think maybe it has now because of that conversation we had a few weeks ago. Because Kelly actually talked to Matthew. She had a meeting scheduled for something else, and I think Kelly kind of put a flag up and said, "Hey, give Eric a call and let him know this is available."
Okay. All right. So we'll get that. So guys, stay tuned on this. But I think we're in agreement that whatever we have together is going to grant funding request this fall at this point. Okay. Excellent. Are we okay here? Can I move on to the next topic?
I'm good.
I'm good.
All right. Excellent. Which goes for how's our Facebook page doing? Have we gone viral yet?
Not viral yet, but you know, we continue to make posts, people continue to interact with it. So it's better, you know, like for July, I posted about rain barrels, which is a personal interest of mine about collecting rainwater. There was a post that was created from the water department that, you know, I kind of like piggybacked on, you know, and provided some calculations on, how much rain you'll need for how much garden you have. So not entirely related to energy savings, but, still part of, green, sustainability, look outlooks. That reached like over 100 people. I'm posting it to the groups, but I'm gonna do a post about, just following the page and stuff like that, because I think Dave had that idea a few months ago, just to invite people to follow the page, so that it can show up on more people's feeds. For upcoming posts, I was going to do that, the data that you provided for the LED lights. So whatever we had there is fine. I know you said you couldn't get all the information you were looking for, but I'll figure something out to make it interesting.
So
Yeah.
I think on that is, and sorry, Chris, but basically the idea is that when we went from the original plan that we were doing, when we decided to buy them and dump the maintenance fee, that kind of cut us in half. And then now that we've gone LED, it was a further like 60 to 70% savings. I
Yeah.
don't know if the difference between 6,000, well, say the $5,000, $4,000 number we used to be paying in 2020 and the $700 number we're paying now. That's what I would love to be able to somehow emphasize to everybody.
Yeah, I'll make like a visual, like kind of a graph situation so that people
Okay.
can see it without even reading, for those
Okay.
visual learners.
Yeah.
I
I was going to say, even if you looked at it as like, average it as a year and said, okay, in 2020, our monthly bill on average was, and
yeah.
that we can probably get away with, I would think. Okay.
Yeah, I'll definitely, I'll take a look at what's there and create something.
Yeah.
And then I also got that energy meter from the library, so I'm going to post that's there if anyone's interested.
Okay. How'd it do for you?
I thought it was interesting. Some of the things that I thought would pull phantom energy didn't, and others that did. For example, my coffee maker pulled energy, which I thought was interesting, but it
Yes.
doesn't have the clock on it, so I don't know. But like my air conditioners, they didn't do anything, or like my air fryer, I kind of thought would. I don't know, based off of nothing besides my own thoughts. But it was interesting to see what did and what didn't, because I was not unplugging the right things. So
Okay.
it was
Okay.
useful for me.
Yeah.
And they were concerned because it was quite old, but I did put it next to a friend's energy meter that I happened to grab, and they had pretty comparable results. So was able to confirm for them it still worked.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, I'd love to be able to bring that back, into the fold for folks. And it's funny because I mean, your microwave and your coffee maker use probably more energy than half the stuff
Right.
that's sitting there. Anything that has a clock or a timer waiting to go on is bad.
But people don't want to be like unplugging their microwave because they use the clock. So it's
Understand. Understand.
but yeah, it was interesting.
Yep.
Glad to have learned about it.
I understand. Okay. By the way, Tyler, I don't know if you knew that. If you ever want to take a look around the house there for them, there is a meter at the library that you can borrow for free. And you can plug stuff into it and figure out how much phantom power it's using. So,
Or you could turn it on and it tells you how much power it's using too, which I thought was neat because, I could compare like the two air conditioners to see like, they're both set to the same temperature as one pulling more power. So,
yep.
yeah.
Okay. So have to see. Instead of doing that fancy thousands of dollars for a system for the house, just the freebie at the back. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. All right. Let's see. I think that was everything we got right now. You guys, anything I missed today?
I think so.
All right.
If there's anything that anyone wants me to post about, or like if there's an event that you would like me to put on the page, let me know. Just send me an email and I can post it on there.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Excellent.
I'm going to step away for just a second. I'll be
No,
back.
actually, Dave, we're going to make it easier for you.
What's up?
Well, we got the next meeting is the first Monday of March. I mean, sorry,
March?
September, which is not Labor Day. It's the following Monday, right? So it's the 6th, I think it is.
9th.
September. What's the first Monday in September?
It's 9.
Second.
It's 9?
The 9th?
Yep.
No,
Oh,
my
the second
calendar
would be the first.
says the second. Why does it say that?
It's the Labor Day. That's Labor Day. So we're
Oh,
gonna
so you
plan,
want to skip that?
well, we can't, we can't have a meeting on a state
Yeah,
holiday.
no, I get it. I get it.
Okay, so we're gonna look at the 9th for the next one, and I'll come up with the location. Type of thing, okay?
Sounds good.
So
Great.
at this point, I will entertain a motion.
Hey, Dave,
to adjourn?
I would suggest before we adjourn, just a suggestion, but I would post the agenda or at least a basic one tomorrow
Okay.
because
Yes,
we're coming up on the end of the month real fast.
okay. I'll look to get something out tomorrow then. Yes,
Yep.
I agree. Okay. All right,
Now I'll second the motion.
okay, in favor,
Aye.
Bye.
Dave?
Sorry.
Dave, Tyler, you're okay with adjourning? No, I'm only kidding with you. All right, guys, I appreciate the time today. We'll be talking again, but I'm sure we'll be chatting, but if anything, looking forward to seeing everybody on the 9th.
Sounds
Sounds
good.
good.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
enjoy the
Thank you, Dave.
evening. All right,
Take care, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye.